Hello, everyone. Today, it's me and Connie. I'm Pet and Connie, and we're here interviewing Meowmeowfurrycat today. The one, the only, the most reclusive member of Sploder since Yu-Gi-Oh! 77. I'm just kidding. That's not true. Um,
Kind of starting with
so,
an easy one.
why did you pick the name Meowmeowfurrycat? How did you get
um, I wish I had a better answer. I think the answer is just I was 10 years old, and I liked cats. I actually had a different. When I joined Sploder, I joined in 2010, and I had a different account. I don't remember the username, but I think it was just a bunch of letters like strung together. And around the time I started getting serious, I was like, wow, I want to make good games. Like, I want to join the forums. Like, I want to be a community member. I was like, I have to start fresh. I have to make a new account. And I chose apparently the coolest username I could muster for that, which was Meowmeowfurrycat.
It is the coolest name I've ever seen.
I think it's really cool. Yeah, thank you.
And how did you get onto Sploder?
Probably the same way as everyone else, which is I Googled like make your own video game, and that was the first result. There's some variation of that.
Makes sense. Has the community had any impact on you as a person outside of the website in any way?
I'm trying to think. I think at this point in my life, honestly, not a lot. If you had asked me the same question while I was still more active, I definitely would have said yes. But I don't know. I think as it is, I left Sploder, like I became pretty inactive. I want to say mid 2016, so right before I started high school. So it's been like 4 years, and I feel like I changed enough as a person, during high school that there aren't a lot of vestiges remaining. I definitely think. I definitely like I made a lot of friends. I had a lot of really good experiences. I don't know that changed me as a person. I think it definitely gave me a lot of experience, like managing creative projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's my answer.
Some people talk about like maturity and stuff. As the big
yeah. I was thinking about that, and I really think I just wasn't mature at all when I was on Sploder. Like I didn't grow as a person. I was just, making games, trying to get as many thanks on my posts as I could, and that was it back then.
Dude, Sploder things are like way more valuable.
I remember being really like the number I was focused on is I wanted my like thank to post ratio to be really high. So I think like in my prime, I had like 3,000 things and like 9,000 posts. And I was like, this is it. Like I'm the funniest person that's ever been on Sploder. And I wasn't, but it was exciting.
The stats don't lie. You are the funniest person.
Thank you. I think that is one of the sad things. I think I only realized when I watched a couple other episodes of this podcast, and I think most of the other people you've talked to have been around for a fairly long time, or they were pretty active in like the early 2010s. And I think it's different for me only in that, like the period all of my forum activity got wiped when I guess Liamnight like nuked the forums. Which is interesting because if you go back to my forum profile now, I don't know if it's been deleted yet. Like my last posts were from when I was 11, and I was like, I like cats, and that was as far as it went. But I don't know. It was weird.
You can't go wrong with that one. Anyway,
yeah.
Can you give us a quick rundown of your history on Sploder?
Yeah, totally. So I joined. Like I said, I think I joined in 2010. I kind of wasn't super serious about it for a couple of years because I was 8 years old. And then I think around the same time, I think I made this account and joined the forums kind of at the same time. And I still didn't. So I was making games. My first couple featured games were all like 2012 style, like puzzle platformers.
Yeah.
And I kind of got very into that style of game for a while. And I think for the first few years, I didn't feel like it was a huge part of the community because just because I think I always felt like I was a few years younger than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think probably around 2014, 2015, I'm going to say it, I did feel like I matured. I think I started making a lot more friends, and I felt like, my games were getting better. I felt like a bigger part of the community. I made some games I'm really proud of, and I think then I guess I just lost interest, and I left mid 2016.
Yeah.
I came back in, I want to say, May of this year, just because I was curious to, check in.
Okay, I didn't even know you came back so recently.
Yeah, no, it wasn't at all before that. I think I'd like loaded up the website once, but I didn't really do anything. And I think probably at this point, more than people remember any of my games, people probably just know that I am I'm pretty good at speedrunning floater games. But yeah, that's the brief history.
Games though, so I don't know about that.
Thank you.
Well, that's interesting. Let's see. I need to pull up my document again.
Yeah, no problem.
Are there any memories on Twitter that you're particularly fond of?
I think I have fewer specific memories than just memories of what it felt like to feel like to be a really integrated part of the forums, to have lots of people I was like friendly with and talking to every day. That was really cool. That was probably the first time that I felt that. The other small thing I would say is there was a while in I think 2015 when JJS started these like rival gaming clubs. And the idea was you like compete in these challenges and make games as part of a team. And so I was part of Team Stallion. And that was a lot of
game show. I thought it was.
It wasn't. I don't think that was for a game show. I think that was just like that was a thing that existed separately, as far as I can remember.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Cool. Oh, Coney, by the way,
Coney, I don't know if you.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're good. I was
on the bottom that will kill the archers on top. It'll
yeah, you have to like swim through the lava, I think. Oh, the other thing is I don't know if this is like in a comment and the comment got deleted, but you have like 100 lives in this game, so that's not.
Oh, really?
That's not as much of an issue.
Imagine placing 100 hearts.
I think I just was doubling them, but after a while it took forever. Yeah, no, when I made this game, I was actually thinking about like Geometry Dash.
Really?
Only because I know a lot of the games that I made were like incredibly prohibitively difficult. And I had kind of played Geometry Dash a lot when I was like 12. And I think one of the things that I liked about it was that every level is insanely hard, but you can just keep, playing it over and over until you get like pixel perfect at it. And that was kind of similar to what I wanted to do here.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ways to die. There's like traps and shit, but you can just keep trying if you don't get bored.
Well, I mean, while we're on the subject of this game, I guess I found it really interesting because, like, after like, because originally I thought it was just one of those games where you run through it really quickly, and that was the point of it. But like, and then I realized, oh, you have to actually explore like the map to like kill all the enemies.
Yeah, it's a destroy all enemies game. I feel like those kind of got a lot of flack, but yeah, I thought it was a good way of making the player kind of have to look around. It is also unfinished. I think I finished the first section, which is this area, and then there's like kind of
there's no other keys.
Yeah. This is like the village section is what I called it. I think that the idea in my head was like you're this person who's like storming a castle and you have to like get through the whole kingdom. So this area is the village. The next area is going to be like the castle gardens, and then probably the third area is going to be like the actual castle, and there's going to be a boss fight in each one. But I only got as far as the first section. There's like a little bit of the gardens, and then it just ends.
Well, if you're talking about castles, Dave called. He wants his his concept back.
Yeah, well,
I mean, Dave came out afterwards, so really, if anything.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of when I made. I think I made this game in like 20. I think I made this game in like 2017 or 2018. So it was after I left, and I was like, I should make a game on Sploder again because it's summer and I'm not, doing a lot. But
Summer.
yeah, but I think I never finished it, and I just forgot about it for a couple of years.
Well, this game's really unique. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Any fun stories? Any funny stories you want to share?
About Sploder?
Yeah, sure. Or even in general, if you really want to, but you don't have to, obviously.
I think I'll let you know if I think of any, but
Right.
nothing off the top of my head.
So you said you were getting into music production lately, and I was wondering what kind of music you're making. And,
oh yeah. So I haven't made anything that I think is particularly good yet. But I took piano lessons when I was a kid. I've been playing piano for probably like 10, 11 years. And I think that's the basis of what I've been trying to do. But
like
when kind of, sorry, that's not really a coherent answer. When I say music production, I got Logic earlier this year. And I've been trying to make stuff in that mostly as a way of teaching myself how to use all the different parts of Logic, because as far as I can tell, it's super complicated. There's tons of moving parts. I think probably the style of music is, I would say, like pop or rock adjacent. But again, I haven't really made anything that I feel like is a finished product yet.
It sounds like my kind of music though. So if you ever make something, tell me about it.
No, yeah, totally.
Oh yeah. So how would you like to promote? Do you have any Spotify Bandcamp thing that you're planning on?
I don't yet. I'll definitely let you know if I do have any. If anyone wants to follow just my normal account on Spotify, I am a huge fan of just exchanging Spotify profiles so I can see what people are listening to. But that's not something to promote. That's just social media.
Yeah.
I don't really have any projects I'm working on right now, but
all right, cool.
I think people should look at.
Sorry about that. You don't have to answer this one, of course. This might be too personal. But could you tell us about your personal life and what you're doing right now?
The question is, this might be too personal, but can you tell us about your personal life?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, no. So broadly, I graduated from high school in June. I was going to go to college this past fall, but because of the coronavirus, I decided to take a gap year.
Yeah.
So I've been living in an apartment with a few of my friends. I've been taking some classes at community college. I've been reading a lot. I've been, trying to learn how to make music. But it's been pretty uneventful. I guess that's as far as my personal life would go.
What about any hobbies? I guess music production, obviously.
Sorry, hobbies?
Yeah, hobbies. If you want.
Yeah, so music, definitely. I listen to a lot of music. I have been trying to write more. I was really involved with the student journalism program at my high school, and that was something I really enjoyed and something that I want to keep doing. But I think that's probably it. Oh, I've been cooking a lot. I've gotten halfway decent at cooking.
Dang.
You can go through, the teleporter. That's basically it. Nothing super exciting.
And you guys can taste. I'm just kidding. What was I gonna say? All right, yeah, your writing's really cool, actually. Like what I saw from the deconstruction site, and like
Oh
yeah,
yeah, thank you.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I heard you have a brother on Sploder, who's itp, right?
Yeah. You heard? Did I say that to you?
Yeah, you said that.
Got you. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so my brother, we actually joined. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off?
I was just gonna ask, like, what do you think of his games and stuff? But yeah, you
What
can.
do I think?
I'm also interested in
Um,
more general stuff if you want to say that.
I think they're pretty good. I think he only has one game on itp, but
Mhm.
he had a different account. We actually used to share this account for like a month.
Oh,
And then I was like, no, I need to, we need to go our own separate ways. So his other account that he used to be on was Pardus, Pardus. There's a few games on there. I think they're pretty good. I think it's definitely like he has a really specific style of game that is similar to a lot of the games I was making around, I think like 2014, that I think is cool.
yeah,
But I didn't even know he had the account until this summer when I played the one on NP.
well, that's surprising.
Yeah, he just never mentioned it.
Yeah, so did you guys like, did he join because of you, or it was like,
Um, I think we probably joined at around the same time because again, we were like I was 8.
uh-huh.
Um,
Hey, I was eight when I
oh
joined as
hey,
well. Stop
uh,
copying me.
oh, oh shit, Connie, congrats! I don't think anyone's beaten that before.
I beat it
Oh,
last week.
oh really? Okay, congrats! You're the second person to beat it.
I mean, you beat
Um,
it as well, so.
mhm. um, Sorry, I think I got distracted. What was I talking about? My brother?
All right, yeah, your brother.
Yeah, I don't know. We joined at the same time.
Like
And
independently, that's so strange.
I think it might have been independently, or maybe it was like through a mutual friend. We were kind of on the same page for the first couple of years, and I think I started spending a lot more time on the site, and he got less interested.
Oh, is this a story shooter? That's kind of cool. Oh, anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Um, there's this a review that you published. Let me read it out for you.
Okay,
Actually, maybe I shouldn't read it out.
you can. I think I preemptively. I don't
Um,
know what you're about to read, but I want to disavow some of the.
well, okay, why don't you tell me if I should read this out first, I guess.
Okay, let me see.
You can
Um.
I was just curious what it was about. Like,
Oh yeah. Okay. I don't fully remember what this one was about. Yeah. Sorry. You can read it if you want to.
read the featured game page. This review is by Meowmeowfurrycat. Someone else messed up. I attempted to fix it. Something else inexplicably went wrong. Story of my life. Stay tuned, kids. Also, Bobbler, and hopefully we learn a valuable lesson not to do this type of behavior in the future. Please don't act so condescending, Lamau. If not for your unstoppable urge to stroke your ego and various, not nearly as large parts of your body, this wouldn't have taken place in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember exactly what that was about. I think that's as much exploder drama as I ever got into.
Mm-hmm,
But I think what happened is there were a couple instances when I think someone like hacked an editor's account and featured a bunch of games or unfeatured a bunch of games.
mm-hmm,
And I think I was an editor at the time, so I think I was trying to fix that and probably ended up making things a lot worse just because the featuring game system was kind of complicated. Um, and I think Bobbler got mad at me because he thought I was just like fucking around for the sake of fucking around. I should say for context, Bobbler hated me. Um, which is fair because I was a little shit, but this is around the time when he was making like Owl Slayer and Sonic Saves Mario,
mm-hmm.
and all of these games that I actually think now are probably some of the better games on the site. Just because I think they were the first platformer games to use graphics on basically everything. So the idea was to make it feel like basically like a non-floater game, yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that was really cool, but it was hard for me to admit that that was really cool because he was also like he was also so, I guess I just want to say, overconfident. Like he was very convinced of like the idea that like these were the best games ever made on Sploder, and he was like the best game maker ever on Sploder.
He still thinks that. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I was 14, so I was like, no, you're not. I remember, I think I voted against Owlslayer getting into the EGL, which I definitely would not do today. But there I was. I don't know what I was doing. I was 14. He was probably like 20. I was just kind of being a nuisance. So he did not like me. And then I actually, the game that Coney's playing right now did take a fair amount of inspiration from Bubbler's games. So I guess he won in the end.
He wins in the end. I just realized you can kill your friends in this game. You can kill
yeah, I feel bad about that, but they come up.
Did you ever think about that?
I didn't think about that. Maybe they deserve to die because I never made parts 2 through 5 of the series.
There were 2 through 5.
I was planning 5 parts, and then I started the second one, and then I left Sploder. So
was this series mainly just a shooter, a story shooter? That was the idea.
Yeah. The idea was just I wanted to tell the story of this girl and her friends who are, I guess. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I realize it's the same thing as Acrasia, the game that Coney was playing a second ago, in that they're going on this quest to like kill this dragon in her castle. But yeah, the idea was just to have this map feel like it was just a big open world, even though it's super linear. Like one of the things I remember taking care to do is if you look at your radar in this game, you can't see where the mud polys end. It's the whole map.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to make it feel more immersive. I think I was also thinking about doing the thing where like maybe at the end of the chapter, like you'd have to make a choice, and then depending on what that was, you would get a link to like one of 2 different games. But that never happened either.
Yeah, those are pretty ambitious plans, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I always had a lot of really ambitious plans and then no desire to follow through with them.
All right, so what game are you most proud of and why?
Okay, I think that's pretty easy. I would say Deconstruction Site, which is the game that I made this year for EGD14. I actually think one of the things that is really cool for me looking back is that I feel like basically every game I made was better than the last game I made. Like for me at least, especially because I know what like my mindset was at the time. I feel like there's a pretty obvious like evolution as I kept making stuff, and this to me felt like the culmination of a lot of things that I wanted to do. Like I was always really excited about the idea of having kind of open, like non-linear exploration-based games.
Yeah.
So this game actually started because I realized I think Elroy was back on the forums or something, and I knew she had a copy of the Doppelganger glitch.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that because I was thinking about ways to make cool boss battles for an RPG I was thinking about that never got finished. And I was like, hey, if you had a doppelganger in a level, not one that you can control, because I feel like that concept got mined pretty thoroughly. But if you had a doppelganger off screen that you couldn't control, you could put like burst tiles and closers on a timer, right? And that's not something anyone had ever done before. And so the way this the way this game started was I was just like, I want to make a sequence where you have to like run across, like do a bunch of platforming, but it's on a timer because the platforms are like exploding behind you.
Yeah.
And so I made that, and then I had all these other sequences. I think I kind of realized this is going to be my last game on the site. So I had a couple other sequences that I had put into unfinished games, and I was like, well, if I don't, make these now, like no one's ever going to see them. So I kind of just put them into different parts of the map, and I tried to make it like look kind of cohesive. I guess that's basically the whole thing. I think it was also cool when I decided to call it Deconstruction Site. It was just supposed to be like a play on Construction Site.
Yeah.
like it's a construction site, but it's like abandoned and everything's falling apart, so it's a deconstruction site. But I think also retrospectively, it ended up being like that. I felt like that was a pretty good name for the last game I was ever going to make on Sploder.
The deconstruction of the website.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. I like all the different parts. This is a big thing, is I felt like there wasn't really any filler. Like there's a lot of parts where you're running around like pushing wheels around, but all of the sequences themselves are new, or I hadn't seen them done before.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I like the way I made it look. I've always really liked the 8-bit aesthetic, which I think is probably
it's a
not
really beautiful game.
a popular opinion, but yeah, and I guess that was it mostly. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I'm not.
We were trying to do like a RPG, and we were like, how do we get it to look as good as Deconstruct? And we realized, it has to be 8-bit to do that, and then we were very disappointed.
Did your RPG ever pan out?
No, it did not.
Oh, yeah, it's a shame. That would have been super cool. I feel like there were tons of projects that just never got finished that I would have loved to see.
Yeah, that's one thing I never realized until we started doing these interview series. Like everyone has like unfinished games, like not just unfinished games, unfinished collabs specifically.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I don't think I ever finished a collaboration in my life. I'm trying to think about it now, but
What about Queststone Light?
Oh, I did finish Queststone Light, although I think Gerald123, who was the person I was working with, dropped out after, like, I think he got busy or something. So he did part of the first level and I did the rest of the game. But I tried to start collaborations a few times and we just never got to the end of them. I had like an RPG that I was making with Woodchuck back in 2014. I think we got through like 2 or 3 levels and then just gave up on it. I think just one of the sad things for me is that like I would start these projects and then I would abandon them, but I was like, well, I can always like come back if I want to and touch it up a little and maybe release it. And I mean, I guess that's not, and now that doesn't seem like it's a possibility because the games are still up, but you can't log in, right? Logins are disabled. So anything that wasn't published is not going to be published.
Yeah. That's a thing with all of us.
Yeah.
Totally unrelated, but while we're watching this playthrough, where's the purple key? Cody and I were looking for it so hard.
Yeah, okay, so the purple key is the secret. It's I can tell you how to get it if you're interested. I don't know if you want to do the rest of the game first, but
she cheated so hard. You can't make it up there, but still.
I don't think you can make it up there, and I think regardless, the burst tile with a key over it doesn't blow up until you start the key lock sequence. I think that was actually no, never mind. If you want to get the purple key, you don't have to do it now. You can do it at basically any point before you do the robot module. But the first thing you do is you have to go back up through the teleporter that you came through at the start of the game.
Oh, that's clever. I tried, when you sent me this game for playtesting, I tried to do that and I died instantly. And I'm like, okay, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I had implemented it yet, but I think as soon as you go through, I actually might have just changed at what point the closers were triggered, but I think now as soon as you go through the teleporter the first time, it activates some closers on the initial end that will save you if you go back through from falling into the lava.
That's really clever. That's awesome.
So there's that, and there's a couple other things that you have to do to get the purple key. It's like a whole sequence. But
Tony, do you know if this game was archived? Because I don't know if Flashpoint archives games.
I think I heard that it was games up until May, so I don't know if this one was.
Oh, that's really bad because this one's one of my favorites. This needs archived.
Thank you. There's like I have the walkthrough up on my YouTube channel, so that's like a kind of archiving, but
yeah, I guess close enough.
not quite the same thing.
We finally found the purple key by cheating and asking the creator.
Yeah. You haven't found it yet. There's a couple more things you got to do. One of the other things I really liked about this game was I felt like unless you did something dumb, there wasn't really any way to lose. You have to destroy the barrel. Like I think a lot of my other games were just super difficult, and I don't think that's always a bad thing, but I like that this one is slower paced and you have time to explore, and you can't really, like, none of the modules are things that you can mess up and just have to start from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, you
sorry.
can lose by dying.
Well, yeah. If she falls off the edge, that might not go well, but
Okay, so oh shoot, which one? Did I ask this one already? What parts of making games appeal to you the most?
yeah. I think I can't tell you what it was when I started making games. So, you have to go back through. You don't need the section anymore. But now if you go to the right a little bit, there's sorry if I'll get to your question in a second.
Yeah, don't worry.
There's a section with a slider, and
How's she doing this? She's just going super fast.
I've never seen that before. I didn't know you could duck and move. Okay, so you need to get if you go to go back to the left a little bit. Okay, so there should be a part. The little indentation there to the left, there's like 2 blocks that are 1 block down into the ground. You have to get a wheel there, and then you can bounce up onto the wheel, get up to the ladder, and then destroy if you have both the orange and green perm blocks turned off, which you can do in module 2, you can get to the weak block, destroy the weak block, and release the slider.
Oh damn, that's crazy. That's so complicated.
Yeah, I think I felt comfortable doing that just because it was like no one needs the purple key to win the game, so it was okay to put more of like an obscure sequence in there. Sorry, I think what probably at the end what appealed to me the most about making games was I really wanted to create games that had atmosphere. Like I think, like I've never really played video games. I've played like 4 or 5 actual video games in my whole life, probably. But I think I always gravitated towards ones where I felt like I could get lost in like whatever world they were offering. And I think kind of a similar thing with like the TV shows I liked, or the TV shows and like movies I liked when I was a kid. And so what I tried to do with at least my later games was to make games that didn't feel like they felt like a game, but it felt like you were playing a game within this world. So that's why the like deconstruction site has a huge map, and I tried to add things that maybe hinted at some kind of backstory. I think probably my other favorite game I made is called Tide. It's this kind of nonlinear open world-ish, not open worlds, like exploration-based shooter game. And I tried to just cover the map with all of these different like messages that just would give you flavor, like would say like a sentence about like, oh, you see like, this happening next to you, just to make the player feel a little bit more like they were, actually in whatever environment. I think that was the main thing. I do think a lot of my games actually took completely the opposite tack. Because I think probably half of my games, if you go back and look, are games that probably only 1 or 2 people could complete, just because they rely on such specific knowledge of like the website and all of the different glitches.
Don't worry, that's
most or exploitables actually. Yeah, no, totally. But I think not just I think what I'm saying that makes it a little bit different from generic puzzle plots is I wanted to make games that didn't necessarily present themselves like that. I think the first game I remember doing that was when I was 10 or 11. I made a game called How to Get to Level 250 in 5 minutes. And I think it's actually one of my most viewed games because I knew that games like that would get a lot of views. And I think I followed through. I think if you play the game, you get to the sequence, and the owl's like, the way that you get to level 250 in 5 minutes is to accept 2,500 friend requests in the span of 5 minutes, which would get you to level 250. And
Was this a serious game?
that was just one of the first. I think that was the first game I remember making that wasn't like a generic puzzle platformer. And so that was kind of at service level. That was what the game was. And then but then if you dove under the lava and you found a bunch of hidden switches, you could like get to like a secret message, I think. And I think I was like, if you send me this message like on the forums, like I'll give you a gold reward or something. And so I felt like what I was trying to do was make games that presented themselves as one thing and then turned out to be kind of not that at all. I made a game called I Hate Nebraska.
Oh yeah,
where seemingly every level, what you have to do is just walk forward or like up or down a couple blocks and you get the crystal. And then on the last level, it turns out that there was a hidden key somewhere in every level, and if you didn't get all of them, you can't beat the game.
Yeah, I love that concept.
And I think it was definitely like I made a lot of really annoying games. The other one I'm thinking of, I made a game called Fun Roller Coaster because that was also a genre of platformer that I was kind of ripping off of, where it just seems like it's a platformer roller coaster game, but if you actually follow the roller coaster, you die immediately, and you have to do all these things to like basically get out of the roller coaster at every point possible. And then I did make a couple games where like you actually have to change, like modify the URL in order to win.
Oh yeah, change of program.
Yeah, change your program. I have a game that's untitled, that doesn't have a title at all, and you have to do something similar there. I remember for years there was this sequence that I wanted to include in a game that I never could, and the idea was if you have a wheel that is touching lava, and I don't know if you've ever done this, if you have a wheel and it's touching lava and you pause and unpause a lot, it becomes really laggy really quickly.
Yeah, it does.
And so I was like, I want to make a game where the player has to push a wheel into lava and then make it super laggy. And then the only way to get past the sequence is like, you can only do it if the game is really laggy. So that's like part of the puzzle.
And then everyone's computer exploded.
Right. Well, yeah. And then it turned out that because of the state of Flash, everyone's computers were already incredibly laggy. So that never ended up working, but I wanted to do that for years. I think Coney's screen is frozen for me, but you have to ride the slider for like literally like all the way to the left side of the map, and then you can.
He's doing that right now. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a bit. It's fine. This will be the most interesting part of the video to watch, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely.
So did you have any favorite game makers who like inspired your games?
I think I had favorite game makers, and the people who inspired my games were probably not the same people. But I remember when I joined the site, I was I think I mentioned already, I was a couple years younger than everyone else. And I realized today when I was thinking about it that I actually joined, by joined, I mean, I made this account and joined the forums. I did that like a month or two after EGD6. Which it seems like the consensus is that that was the best year for EGD. There were tons of really good games made. I think that's when like Lonely Roads came out and stuff.
I thought it was 7. I don't actually know.
I think 7 was Dark Days, and I think 6 was like Quest Zone, the first Quest Zone, Lonely Roads, Oceans, Atlantis, like all of those big games. And so I joined Sploder. I was a couple years younger than everyone. I think to some extent I looked up to everyone else, or I kind of just figured that they, it's like they probably know what they're doing. They're 12, and I was 10. And so I remember when I was joining, I really internalized like kind of almost like the mythos of Sploder. I was like, wow, there's all these people who are like unfathomably good at making games. I remember when I joined, I found all of the people who I thought were really good at making games, just like Young Calaman, Stofor, probably Ravicale, I don't know, and I added them all to my best friends list on the main site because I was like, I want to be these people, and yeah, so for a while I was like, I have to like I got really invested in the idea of Splutter being its own, separate form of media that like had its own canon and its own history and stuff like that. And that ended up not actually manifesting in the way that I made games. I think probably eventually, I think my style developed enough that probably the closest thing I could say would be I took a lot of inspiration from Once 39. We were friends on the main site. We made a lot of similar games. We like hyped up each other's games whenever they came out. Okay, I will say though, I was thinking earlier about what I would say my favorite games are on Splutter if I was asked. I think probably I would say the RaveQuest series was my favorite series when I was a kid. And I actually think RaveQuest 3 is maybe one of my favorite games on the site still now. And one of the reasons I think that's the case is, I think it's a pretty good game structurally. Like it's a solid, platformer, big RPG. I'm sure it was even better, in the context of when it came out.
Yeah.
And it actually does it. And one of the things that I liked about it is I think it's a lot more forgiving than a lot of other games on the site. Like I remember distinctly that one of its innovations kind of is every checkpoint in the game has like a copy of every respawnable power-up that you've gotten up to that point.
It's like Questions Armor, but
yeah. Yeah, no, totally. So I think, like, for example, I think a lot of big RPGs on Splutter have the problem that if you die, like, you lose all your power-ups and you're basically fucked. Yeah. Like, regardless of how many lives you have. And I thought that was a really good way to fix that I wish more people had adopted. But I think the main reason that I loved the RaveQuest games so much was just that it was really obvious how much care Elroy had put into developing this world and the characters in the story.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one of the only, probably honestly, other than Witchcraft, like one of the only games I played where it felt like both I cared about the characters and it seemed like the game maker was making a conscious effort to get me to care about the characters. Because you have NPCs, like I think there's a trope in Splutter games where you have like one NPC character who kind of just follows you around and like, like we'll say like make a snarky comment every couple rooms.
Yeah.
But they're just like you're like off like fucking like killing the demon lord and they're like cracking one-liners the whole time. Which is fun, but RaveQuest had characters who had very defined relationships to each other and to the protagonist, and they had character arcs. They had stuff happen to them over the course of the game. And that felt so immersive, and it made me feel like I was playing something that had so much love basically put into it. That made it feel really special.
Yeah, that's definitely something you can get from the RaveQuest games. Although I will say, I don't know how well it aged, but
I think I do agree with that. I haven't gone back and played them because I kind of didn't want to like destroy my memory of what it had been like. But yeah, probably agree with that. I did play Hero of the Day, which was the game that she made for EGD 9, I think, in 2015. And I think just because I was less impressionable, I didn't like it as much immediately as I had liked RaveQuest, but it still had a really like carefully, lovingly constructed world and story, and I thought that was just really, really cool and really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. So you made games mainly in the platform creator.
Yeah.
But you also had a lot of good shooter games. So is there a reason why you preferred like platformers?
I think the first game I ever made on Splutter was a platformer, and it always felt like it had the most options. Like I get that technically, lag aside, you can make a shooter as big as you wanted it to be, and you could put as much stuff as you wanted it to be, but it still felt like you were still playing the same kind of game with, basically the same like 20 assets. And in platformers, to me, it felt like you could basically make whatever you want in them.
Yeah.
Also in a way that was easier to do than like PPGs, because I have no idea how to use. I don't have the slightest idea how to use that creator.
Same.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I think the other thing is just there's so much, like, not only is there so much content in the platformer creator, there's so much you can do with the engine itself, if that makes sense. Like I think for a while, a lot of puzzle platformers just revolved around, a lot of puzzle platformers revolved around exploiting like one of like 3 known glitches.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like that. I thought that could have, I thought people could have been more innovative than that. But it was still really cool to me that you could have an entire genre of game based around exploiting known glitches, that there were enough of those things to sustain an entire genre, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess that's something else I always really liked. And I just feel like I was the best at it. Like I thought my shooters were pretty good, but I felt like I felt the most comfortable with platformers.
Yeah, I get that. I was the same way.
Mhm. You made Crimson, right?
We don't talk about that game.
Oh, Coney's at the Switch.
Oh my gosh, finally. Oh,
Okay,
you
don't.
could get here using the jetpack. We actually did that.
Yeah, but you can't get that during the using the jetpack. But I think I set it so that by the time you get the jetpack, the thing that the Switch opens is closed off by closer.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which is actually that's the other thing I really liked about making this game, is I felt like I had such a in-depth knowledge of all the different ways to basically like cheat through platformers, just because I'd done it for so long that I felt like I was pretty well equipped to force people to play it the way I wanted them to play it.
So where do you go
Okay,
after?
okay, you don't need to stay on the slider. If you start walking to the right, you'll see that there's like a hole in the ground that's opened up that you can just jump into.
Oh, that's so cool.
Um,
Yeah, I get that.
that was one of the things. I think if you look at where that switch is, and this like the slider's all the way on the other side of the map, it's not at all obvious what you're supposed to do or why it's there, and I thought that was cool. I think I think Beast 4321 reviewed this game, and they were like, "Oh, there's a really cool mushroom on the left of the map," and I was like, "Yep, like that's what it
A
is."
mushroom.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
this is key luck to you. Congrats.
This is so cool. This game looks so cool. Like this part. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I was really happy when they made the um
The mushroom.
yeah, one of the other things I really like about this game that I never really that's very minor, but I never got to talk about, is like you can see there's the Keylock D sign is getting covered up.
Oh yeah.
And so throughout the game there are like inscriptions with little, like, not hints but kind of instructions, like you can't do this part until you've done the other part. And I made it so that, sorry, I'm sharing this now because I think if I don't, like, no one would ever notice. But like for example, on
Block gets stuck in space.
sorry, I think there's a ramp there if you can, yeah, you got it. Like I think like on keylock B, there's a sign underneath keylock B that says like you have to complete keylock A first before you can do this one. And when you actually do keylock A, it triggers one of those like sliders that has a black graphic on it that completely covers up the instructions. So if you go back to keylock B, if you do it in order, you would have no idea that like the hint was there in the first place,
Yeah,
which I
that's
thought
so
was just
cool.
a cool effect.
Man, this game should have been rated higher.
I thought so too, but I think I wasn't super surprised because I was definitely making something that wasn't.
It's too artsy, you know. It's not for the plebeians. The
It's not for the plebeians. No, I think I've talked about this before. It felt like it wasn't super in line with like a lot of people's preconceived notions of what like a good explorer game should be.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was trying to do a lot of things differently. And to be fair, it's not. There are definitely things to dislike about it, but I was really happy with the way it turned out. I'm
Well,
trying
I
to think.
mean, it can become solider, you know. That was also.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought that should have won EGD actually.
Wait, actually.
Not not actually. I will say I placed it I think I was the only judge who put it above like 30th place, and I will stand by that decision.
I made the one day. It
Yeah.
was a joke.
No, I actually had, like, I think in as much as the goal of playing a game is to just get as much fun as you can out of it, I had an absolute blast playing Seek and Become Solitaire.
Aw,
Like I probably enjoyed myself more than like, I don't know, I'm not gonna name anyone else's game because I'm not. The only person or thing I can shit talk in this game is apparently Bobbler.
Yeah.
Nothing else is fair game.
You didn't even shit talk Bobbler. You gave him a lot of compliments.
I do really like Bobbler, and that's, for the record, I really like Bobbler, and that's my closing statement on the matter.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh yeah, sorry, it does that because the doppelganger teleports, because basically off screen you have your doppelganger just falling through a bunch of basically like weak blocks and switches. And eventually got so far down that I was no longer able to drag the switch all the way across the huge map to get to the right block in time. Like I couldn't see that well, and there wasn't enough control over where I was dragging.
Yeah.
So I made the doppelganger teleport to a closer part of the map. And I think when you teleport, it like shifts the camera to the doppelganger for a second.
Oh, Tony, don't you need to do all the blocks before you can do the?
Yeah, but there's the module 4 is to the left also. She can do.
But she already did that one.
Oh, she did.
Anyway, yeah. Thank you for complimenting you during your interview. I needed that. I needed a lot of ego boosts. I'm just kidding. Where was I? Oh, there we go. Okay. Do you remember anything about your thought process when you first joined Sploder and started making games?
I can't say thought process. I think I was just really excited because I realized that I had stumbled upon, like, it was like a community basically that had so much stuff being created. I think, like I said earlier, there was a lot of stuff that like I wanted to one day be able to emulate.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, there's lots of possibilities here for my, to jumpstart, my future career as a game designer, which I guess is what I thought I wanted to be when I was 8. And I think, yeah, that was basically my thought process. It definitely got taken to another level when I actually joined the forums, but yeah.
It's pretty amazing what kids can do with free time.
Yeah, no, totally.
All right, so a lot of your games have this like playful tone to them, like The Cake is a Lie or I Hate Nebraska. So why'd you do this and like similar games like those,
Yeah. I think at some point I realized, I don't know if you played, I had a game called Humanity. That was the only other
that was
EGD I
on my
entered the EGDA.
when I came back, I found
I
that.
actually think that game is really bad. I think it's fine, but the premise of the game is, can you do all this insanely difficult platforming with the platformer creators, completely unintuitive, oversensitive physics engine? And the answer was no, no one can do that. I could do it because I made the game. You have to wait for the tiles over the bouncer to blow up.
I don't know if she even activated it. I didn't see, but
I think
she did.
I don't know.
It might just take a while because she might be really fast.
Yeah, probably.
Chance. Yeah.
If you didn't hit the remote switch behind the sand block, you have to go back and do that, but it might just be taking a while. I think, oh yeah, okay. So I think I made that, and I was 12, but I was like, I want to make a really, like meaningful game. And I didn't because I was 12. But actually, I feel like the fact that I called, like, the name of the game is just Humanity, probably says a lot about how good the writing in it was. But I think I realized, I was like, I think it's going to be really difficult to pull off a game that carries any emotional heft, especially because I'm 12 years old. And like, it's a Sploder game. That wasn't exactly the thought process that I had, but I think the next RPG I made after that was a game called Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah,
and it starts. It was strange. It starts you're on a Christmas tree farm, and you have to save this guy's Christmas tree farm from like getting attacked by monsters. And then I think eventually you go to hell. You have to find, I don't remember who. I think eventually it turns out Satan and Santa Claus are like the same person, because
That's
that's
what
where I
I've been
was
telling
at.
Tony for the past like couple months. She doesn't believe me. Oh my gosh, thank
He
you.
doesn't believe that Satan and Santa Claus are the same person.
Yes, I've been. You think I'm joking, but we've actually been talking about this.
Yeah,
For
I
her.
actually I believe you. Yeah, Tony, Merry Christmas, that game is actually nonfiction. It's based on a true story. And I think that was the first example where I was like, wow, where I realized I didn't I should go up the ladder, where I realized that I didn't have to, like, I could make an RPG, for example, without it being the super like self-serious kind of edgy, dark thing that was more in vogue at the time.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think probably no one else will ever make a game about saving a Christmas tree farm and then going to hell just because it's so completely out there. But I was like, that could work. And then I think the cake is a lie.
Santa Claus, they're one that you just switch a letter.
I mean, that actually is exactly what I was thinking. I realized they were anagrams, and I caught on. What was I saying? I think the cake is a lie, which is kind of the kind of game where I was talking about earlier, where the whole point is just to subvert the player's expectations in the most specific, annoying way possible. Like, I don't know if you've played it, but it starts off, there's an arrow pointing to the right, and then there's a sign over a pit that says free money, and then if you jump into the pit, you die.
A lot of fewer games that I actually was able to beat, and it was really hard though.
Yeah, it is super. I'm impressed you beat it, because it was not
I'm so surprised. Like, there's actually a lot of names on like the leaderboard.
I'm trying to remember if I ever made a walkthrough for it, but I don't think I did, so that's kind of surprising. But so that was kind of the genre I was talking about earlier, where every room, every sequence is just kind of finding a way to subvert what like the game is telling you you're supposed to be doing. I think that if you're talking about the playful nature, the actual tone of like the whatever character is talking to you and like getting mad at you for not dying, I think that was directly taken from Portal, which I actually think is
that was part of the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I think that's a pretty common thing in Sploder games or in video games in general, as far as I can tell. The idea of this like secretly malevolent like AI or omnipotent overseer controlling your like testing chamber. That's actually a really specific and really common thing. And so that was not at all original. I think the reason I called it The Cake is a Lie was just because it was a meme. And it is weird to know that like that game easily has the most views of any of my games. I think it had over 10,000 the last time I checked.
Yeah.
And it's really weird to know that the only reason it has 10,000 views is because I named it after a meme, and two, probably I'm never going to have 10,000 people consume something I create again, and the thing that they did it for was like a joke game.
It wasn't it was
like, it's a weird game. I mean, no, I agree, but I don't know. It's just I think I managed to avoid actually answering your question.
Don't worry about it.
But
it's an interesting answer nonetheless.
I guess that's where I'm coming from. And I think eventually I realized that I wasn't super cut out to tell like big stories, and that's why some of like Deconstruction Site, I think Sunset implicitly, Tide, I think they have, I feel like I tried to make there be kind of hints at some kind of storyline, but I realized I wasn't well equipped to actually be super explicit about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's that many amazing stories anyway on Sploder. So
oh, there's definitely not.
It's choice.
Yeah.
What is humanity's story, out of curiosity? Because I never got that. I got like 8 levels in or something.
I think I had a way more ambitious vision for it than ended up being realized. And I guess that's a way of saying I don't really know. I think at some point I wanted to go big picture and like rail against some kind of societal evil, but again I was 12, so the best I could come up with was I was like pollution is bad, which which is
Hot
which
take.
is I think it is a hot take, but it's also like I think probably where I got that from is I remember a lot of like kids movies from like the 90s or early 2000s were they got political with their messaging insofar as they were like pollution is bad, like factories polluting are bad, and then they kind of just left it there. And that's what humanity is all about, is I guess you're a human and there's this
You're the last one.
AI. Yeah, and GLaDOS, basically, it's another GLaDOS game, is like taking you through all of these different scenes and being like, hey, like you're a human, like humans suck, and like you polluted the world, and then you die. And that's the plot of humanity.
Yeah.
And I was 12.
I was like wondering what the cool green stuff was in the middle of the game. I clearly was not paying enough attention.
I think it just wasn't explained that well. But
Nah, I wasn't paying
I don't
attention.
know. I think that was the game where I think I first got really into the idea of being able to decorate platformers with just like using a bunch of different textures from like the pre-made tile generator. Sorry, I didn't really have a point to that. I was just thinking about it because that's something I got way more into, like with like deconstruction site. Coney, if you go to the left, you should be able to like get out of the pit, and then at ground level there's a ladder going down that you should be able to push the wheel out with.
Sorry, I had a yawn. Okay, next question. Many of your games are like pretty unique, you know? So
Uh-huh.
I don't know how much time you have, so maybe this is a bad question to ask, but I was just wondering,
No, good.
could you explain like where you got the ideas for some of the following games?
Ooh,
Running from
okay. A list, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh wait, sorry.
Running
Should
from
I just? Okay, running from rain. It started. I think that was one of the first games where I was like, I don't want to make games that people have made before. Like I don't. By first games, I mean one of like 3 games because I left Sploder pretty soon after that. But it started just because again there was this sequence that I've been trying to incorporate into a game for a while, and it's the first one at the beginning. It's the one at the very beginning of the game where you have to balance on a windmill that's turning for like 10 seconds. And I was like, how do I? And I was like, that's probably like I think it's a cool sequence, but it's probably also prohibitively difficult enough that I wouldn't want to put it anywhere other than like the beginning of a game where it's easy to restart. And then I was like, I want to make a game where there's nowhere in the game that you can rest. Like there's nowhere that you can stop and not be in danger of being killed by something. Which is, I think, basically ended up being true in the finished game. So I tried to cut out all the filler, which is why it only takes like 2 minutes to beat. And it's just it's a sequence of really high paced, like actiony stuff. The name of the game, Running from Rain, I think it's from a song. I think it's from the song Freedom Hangs Like Heaven by Iron and Wine. Because I was really into like indie folk music at the time.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
I just thought it sounded cool.
And we kind of talked about I guess humanity as well.
Humanity, I don't remember how it started because I made it so long ago. I think actually I made the first level and I made it vague enough because I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do with the rest of the game. I was just like, this could be cool. And then I made level 2 And the first thing that AI says to you, the first thing that GLaDOS says to you in level 2 is like, let's try some running and jumping. And then I realized, I was like, hey, what if I just make the whole game running and jumping? And I guess it just, sprang from that. And I do think it's one of the only like pure platforming games I've seen on Sploder, but I think that's also not really necessarily a good thing, just because its platforming is so frustrating, that's probably why.
So Tide.
Okay, Tide. I think I started. I think when I made Tide, I started with the at close to the beginning of the game. It's kind of like a hub area. There's this ring of like concentric circles, and like at the center is like a teleporter to like the arena. But I know that at this time, I think I was just messing around in the creator, and I made a shape that I thought looked cool, and then I was like, what do I do from here? And I'm trying to think. I think there definitely were games that I took inspiration from, and I'm trying to remember what exactly they were. I think honestly, I took a lot of inspiration from like I played a lot of Flash games when I was growing up. From like point and click games or games where you have to like take clues from stuff in the environment. So as the game developed, I had both, a growing sense of what I wanted the atmosphere to be, but also like there's all these sequences in the game where that are like text-based puzzles almost. Like a lot of them are optional, but like you'll see a character who's like, oh, hey, like go here and you'll like find like a secret. And if you're just rushing through the game, that's not something that you would notice. But I wanted to make something that rewarded like exploring all the different parts of the map.
Yeah. And then we kind of talked about Krasia, but was that just Geometry Dash? Any other?
Yeah, that was just from Geometry Dash. I wanted to make an endless runner. I wanted to make a game that gave the player essentially unlimited lives. And I think I'd probably also just learned the word Acrasia when I made the game, which is why it's called that. I actually have to look it up again, but I think it's like an old timey word for like anger.
I see.
I'm googling it as we speak.
And no one ever used the word ever again.
Okay, so acrasia is a lack of self-control or the state of acting against one's better judgment. And so I thought it sounded cool, but I was also like, hey, I feel like that's a pretty reasonable mindset of someone who's trying to invade a kingdom and kill every single person in it.
I mean, that's a pretty reasonable action. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, no, you're right.
And the cake is why.
I think I probably just started with the first room, the free money one. I was like, how do I make it seem like there's only one way to do this, but if you do that, you die. And there's actually all these other hidden things that you can do in the room that if you do all of them together, will let you get to the next room. That was my idea. And then I was like, and then I was like, this could be good. And I tried to milk it for as long as possible.
And it worked surprisingly.
Yeah, I would say so.
And Deconstruction Site, you said, was just a collection of all the previous stuff you did?
Yeah, it was an amalgamation of all that stuff. I think I also, at that point, was having a lot of nostalgia about Sploder dying. And I think that maybe came off in the vibe of the game. Like I don't think it feels I don't think it feels sad, obviously, but I think there's some sense of like you're going around this place that's clearly like abandoned, it's falling apart.
Yeah.
And but it's also kind of like beautiful in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of a reflection of just how I felt about Sploder. I did think I was going to make at least one other game. I had this big RPG planned that with Gaminator that we made a couple levels of, but that never came to fruition.
Okay, so how do you feel your approach to like making games has changed over time? Would you say it's changed a lot?
Yes, definitely. I think I mean, I think it's just at first, everything I made was trying to be basically a worse version of something that already existed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I started developing my own style, which I've already talked about a little. I
Yeah.
think near the very end, though, I also just started having more ideas of like for example, I realized that most of the games I made were basically impossible, and not impossible in a fun way either necessarily, impossible like completely unintuitive. Um, and so I
Original
started,
thoughts in like 2014.
I think, yes, definitely those, probably some others as well, but yeah, I started, I guess, having more, I'm going to say it again, mature conceptions of like what I felt like games should be. And I feel like that was definitely reflected. Um, sorry, I'm actually going to jump a little bit from what I was going to say and say I feel like it's kind of, I feel like kind of the same time that I started having a really good idea of what I thought a good game would be was also the time that I started losing interest in Sploder. Um, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But I feel like when I came back this year, I kind of, I kind of thought I was like, wow, I have all these ideas, and I realized that everyone else did too. Because as far as I can tell, like as far as I've seen on Discord, like people are discussing up until recently, people were discussing on the main site channel, things that you could do with like the platformer creator in such like complex developed ways that I think probably just no one was,
Developed.
huh?
The Sploder meta is so developed.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I, that's basically how I feel. Like
Uh-huh.
I feel like everyone kind of, I mean, a lot of people I think grew up with this site, and I think that's reflected in the development of the meta, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are kind of like you in that way, that they like tried to emulate what was popular at first, and now
Mhm.
that they're older, they're like trying to do what
Yeah,
they want with the stuff, but they're
yeah,
also like
totally.
disinterested now.
Mhm.
It's the strange paradox.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I think probably like I think just off of the top of my head, I think Vengeance 2.1 and Witchcraft are maybe the two best games on this site.
Oh my gosh, you agree with me?
And
Oh my gosh.
do you wait?
Both of those games.
Wait, actually, yeah, no. I mean, I think just because they feel like, I mean, I think probably the Vengeance 2.1 is probably the most technically perfect game on the website.
I think every
Um,
block in Vengeance 2.1 is just perfectly placed. It's like,
yeah, no, I completely agree. Like it was clearly made with someone who just has such a total mastery of every aspect of like the creator. And
mhm.
but I think what that speaks to, in addition to just that like Maddie's really good at making games, is it feels so much like the culmination of like a decade's worth of knowledge almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And so I think it makes sense that those games are created when they were, but I think it's also kind of unfortunate because they probably only have what, like a couple hundred views. No one's going to see them.
yeah. It's unfortunate. Although
Mhm.
Vengeance, the original, is probably just as good, if not better. And
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. I think I like 2.1 better than the original, but I think it's pretty close.
I think the original might be better because it's longer and
Actually, yeah, I think what it is the original Vengeance felt super innovative and I liked everything in it. I think it felt the Vengeance 2.1 felt tighter though. Like every sequence felt
yeah,
so
it was very.
polished. And I thought that was a really cool way to go out.
It was. It was. I feel like, okay, weird statement, but Vengeance 2.1 Deconstruct Site, very similar games.
Oh, interesting. Why do you think so?
Oh, just because of how like they're both seem like the culmination of stuff into one level.
Yeah, no, yeah, I see that.
Also, both games have like very both have exploration centered stuff, and every block seems pretty deep. It's
Right.
very detailed, they're very detail oriented.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I noticed around the time that you made like Merry Christmas, your games
Mhm.
became a lot less conventional, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Um,
And was there a reason
I'm looking
for
at
that?
my profile.
Because before that, I see like tribute to Stouffer, tribute to Dud.
Oh, that's what yeah, no, that's what I was talking about as I joined, and there were all these people who were older than me, and so I kind of like idolized them, right? I was like, I want to be Stouffer, I want to be Dudkey. I mean, and I think I grew out of that. I think Merry Christmas is probably, yeah, like the first signpost of like a sea change, but I'm looking. I have that. I made a game about my cat dying. I
Which
made
one was
The World is Quiet Here. That line's actually taken from. I think I made that because I was really sad that my cat died. And I think the name of the game is actually taken from Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, but I don't know if anyone knew that. So I made that. I made.
16. Did you count to 16? Is that right? I don't know. I assume you did, but like.
Oh, my game is frozen. Is she at the kill switch?
Yeah, she's at the kill switch.
Yeah, it's the 16th one from the left. If you get it wrong though, it puts you on the other side of the map and you can go back. It just takes a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think just like I've talked about, I was figuring out more what I was comfortable doing. I didn't realize I made change of program that early, but that's a game where you have to modify the URL to make it an earlier version of the game so that you can beat it.
It seems like it took about like a few months before you made Humanity, so it's like a.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at that. Yeah, no,
Oh,
definitely.
interesting how the time works.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that makes sense. Wait, where was I? Fuck. Oh, okay. So I thought it was really strange that Midas, one of your really early games, is actually fairly unconventional compared to the later ones. Until like you get back into like
Oh, got you.
Fable quests and stuff. I mean, not Fable quests, is that the name? Sorry, Merry Christmas and stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just curious, like since you said that you moved away from conventional games, but you have like
that was actually, I think my brother made Midas because we shared the account at the beginning. So that was definitely I think if you play like as a game on IP, he definitely does have a pretty distinct style. That was not me at all, and that's why
you're
it
trying
made
to say
it
is your brother's a better game designer and he never did anything because if he had, the world would have been shocked by it.
I would say so, definitely.
Okay, very impressive. So that's why Midas is so different from like after like Jinx tribute to the ones right after.
Yeah, Fable Quest is literally just a worse version of Rave Quest. like if you've played it, just down to the T, it's just Rave Quest. But
it's really hard.
I think yes.
So most of your games are like, puzzle games with only like a couple of action-oriented ones like Fable Quest. And why is that? Do you just like puzzles a lot or something?
I think it's probably just because of the way that I build games. Sorry, I'm thinking, trying to. I think because usually the way that I get an idea for a game is I have an idea for one thing that I want to be in it, and it's usually easier for me to incorporate that one thing into like a puzzle game, which is, the expectation is that it's just like a series of rooms and you go from room to room solving puzzles.
Yeah.
And that fits better than if it were just like, I don't know, like an RPG, I guess. I think also because they felt more manageable. Like I feel like if you're making a puzzle game, it can kind of stop at any time.
Yeah.
And if you're making a like big RPG, that's a lot harder.
And finish the story and stuff.
Right, exactly. Oh shit, congrats, Connie.
Yeah, congratulations. She didn't show us the doppelganger room on the. It's alright. You really don't.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of gray. I don't know why I covered it.
Well, I mean, you probably knew that someone could jetpack over there.
Yeah, I think
If he has the fastest time on this, impressive.
I think I could definitely beat it faster than that. If I think when I was recording the walkthrough, I like stopped a lot to explain stuff. But I think you could probably. I mean, I guess platformer games are no longer viable contention for speedrunning, but I feel like you could definitely do something with this.
You could definitely speedrun this game, yeah. Although, I'm still mad that you took my Dave world record. Anyway.
I got really lucky with the Dave thing. I didn't know. I don't know if this is the way you do it, but at the end, instead of hitting all the switches on the left side, you can just grapple over like the burst tiles.
Wait, what the fuck?
But I didn't realize that. So if I had realized that in time, I probably could have done it in like 30 seconds. But
wait, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, but it was
tactic I invented. Oh my god.
But no, it was a complete accident. I was like, I wonder what's at the top of these burst tiles. And then I tried it again a second time just to see if I could get a faster score, and I couldn't because it's actually really hard, I guess, to get the momentum to go over the burst tiles if you don't have something above it to grapple onto. So I think it's not something that's super easily repeatable. I just got lucky. Yeah. But yeah, you can go to the left, get the grapple over the wall, and win hypothetically.
I was like, when I did my speedrun, I'm like, this is like clearly optimal. I don't know how someone could improve on this by like 6 seconds. I'm like, that's crazy.
Well, the secret's out. I don't know if you know this. There used to be a way to get a time of like 0 seconds on any game. Were you around when that was a thing?
No, but you're actually the one who told me about that. Can you explain it for the audience?
Yeah, so I think Jeff patched it. But actually, I feel like since Sploder's ending, I might as well fess up. He didn't fully patch it. But okay, Coney, you have to modify the URL. If you add _v equals, I think, 02 to the end of the URL, it disables the magic switch.
It has to be 02 because if it's any other number, the game.
I think 01 doesn't work, and I'm not sure about stuff higher than that. But I found this out actually. I was trying to beat one of Coney's games. I don't remember what it was called, and I don't actually know if it's supposed to be beatable. But you start in what looks like a castle, and there's like, if you run to the left, there's like 50 probes that you have to get past, and it's impossible to get past 50 probes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are we talking about Dave still?
No, this is from. I'll look it up. I can check her profile.
I think that's question mark. I'm not sure.
But I was trying. Okay, it's called. I think it's Unhallowed 3 Requiem.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
It has, yeah. I was a little daunted because it says there are at least 9 levels.
Tell us where the V goes. We forgot.
Oh, sorry. It's $V, not V question mark.
Oh, sorry, Coney. I told you.
But I think I discovered this by accident because what the timer glitch was before Jeff patched it was if you're playing a platformer and it loads and you click somewhere inside the screen to like get it to respond to you, but you don't click the play game button and then you press pause, it would let you start playing the game. And the little blurb that shows up, which is like, in this case, it would say like change your program by Meowmeowfurrycat, that would stay there. That would still.
So you have to play with the fucking thing over the game.
Which is frustrating, but the timer only starts running when you click the play game button. So I think that's why I didn't do it a lot, but I think I have like a time of 0 seconds on like jump and defeat the Yeti. And okay, so what I found out a few months ago, and I didn't say because I didn't want to. I should clarify. I never actually did this. I never used it, and I just didn't want to ruin, what small speed running meta there was. But I was playing Coney's game Unhallowed 3 Requiem, and one of the things I was trying to do to get past the probes was I was like,
that's what she recently released. Oh yeah, I know.
One of the things I was trying to do to get past the probes was I was like, if I set
Wait, so you actually beat that game? That's crazy.
No, I didn't. I definitely didn't. But the thing I was trying to do was, I think the current platformer version is version 12. It's !v equals 12, which just give you the same game. And if you go back to version like 9 or 10, it gets kind of laggy. I don't know if it does anything else, but it gets kind of laggy. And when it's laggy enough, you can do stuff like you can like pause glitch to climb through burst tiles.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be able to beat this just because of how laggy it is.
Can
like
you show us?
have
I kind of want to watch that. Someone play that.
Show which one?
Oh, I was asking her to play Tide.
Ooh, Tide would be fun. And so I was like, maybe if I make the version, I think it's kind of hard for me to explain this with words, but I was like, if I make the version 9 and it's laggy enough, maybe I can glitch out of this room with the probes before the probes kill me. And it turned out, because it was so laggy, it takes a while to glitch through the wall, and I wasn't actually able to do it before the probes killed me. But what I discovered by accident is if you set the version to 9, the timer glitch still works. And I was like, I wonder if that, and then I did some more investigating and I realized that you can actually do that without even changing the version number. If you add !v equals 12 to the end of a platformer game, it's still the same version. I think version 12 is the current version of the platformer, but the pause glitch isn't patched. So you could hypothetically play any platformer game without introducing additional lag and get like a time of 0 seconds. And I feel comfortable saying that now because the platformer creator will only exist for like another 10 hours max.
Yeah.
But that was something cool. I hope so. Oh.
I think.
Oh, sorry.
How do you beat this?
That part.
Candidate.
That part might be harder, I think, just because again it's so laggy. In the past, I've been able to just get past it with my laser, but I think you don't have to do that room to win the game. That's one of the exploration things. And I think the only thing it actually gives you would be a code that you could PM me to get a platinum award. So no big loss. But I think if it were less laggy, you'd just be able to get past them because they wouldn't be pushing out bots at a fast enough rate. Oh, I was just thinking about this. Sorry, this is not related to anything we were talking about, but it's something that I found in the creator, but I never got to put into a game, and I just thought you might appreciate. I don't know if this is common knowledge, but I found out that, you know how in the platformer creator, if you like wheels and enemies don't activate unless you get close to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I found out that sorry, tell me if this is already like a known thing, but I found out that isn't true for sharks and Leonards.
That's so weird.
I also don't know why they're called Leonards, but maybe Jeff can tell us.
The questions that we have.
When is the
That's awesome.
when is the Q&A with Jeff? Have you done that yet?
Yeah, we need to submit those questions after Elroy and Tony finish looking at the ones that I wrote and add their own.
Got you. Has
Wait,
anyone
that was
asked?
terrifying. That's so cool.
Thank you. I think I definitely should have made the different parts of the map more spread out because I remember I played this once and I was just finding red spiders all over the game for the rest of the game. But
you can have a game about like ice skating red spiders.
I was actually trying to make a game like that and I could never really get it to work. Anyway. So if you're in a position to ask Jeff why Leonards are called Leonards, I would appreciate that because I've wanted to know for years.
We're asking about George and Leonard, the two memes.
But Sharks and Leonards, when you click play game, they will instantly be affected by the physics engine. You don't have to get close to them for that to happen. So this isn't a huge thing, but I think it would be definitely like a quality of life fix. For example, like in RPGs, I know it's a common thing to have a sequence where, you know, like you hit a switch and some enemies fall out and you have to fight them.
Yeah.
And what you could,
because they're too far away.
Right. And what you can do is if an object with physics, so a wheel or an enemy, touches another object with physics, it like activates it.
Yeah.
So you could set up rooms like that and just have like the Leonard or Shark at the top of the map, fall instantly, hit whatever enemy you want, and then you could build. I think you could build action sequences a lot
Prevent them
more
from dying
cleanly.
to the air.
I think you either wouldn't they would fall, hit some stuff, and then die, or you can make them fall into water. But it would just be like a one-time activation.
Onto the map, right? Because of
Hmm?
Won't they die the moment you enter the game?
Oh no, they take suffocation damage, but it takes them like 15 seconds to die. I think all the way. So if you got them to activate an enemy at the start of the game.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's clever.
Yeah. Sorry, anyway, I don't think that's a huge thing, but I was always disappointed that I didn't get to put that in the game. Or like in deconstruction site. I know you saw the
just work around it with other like methods.
No, yeah, definitely. But like in deconstruction site, I know you saw the big like gray rectangle that had all the robots.
Yeah.
And the way that those are activated is when you go down to one of the key locks, there's like a wheel underground that falls down, so it falls out of the bottom of the map into the top of the map, and it activates all the robots. But you wouldn't even need to do that. You could just have like a shark do it for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was kind of
doppelganger, so it could have been doppelganger.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Anyway, sorry, that was just a little bit of tangent, but I figured if I didn't say that now, I would never have occasion to say it.
No, it's awesome. It's the kind of content we want. All right, let's see. Next question. What's your process for making puzzles like? What are you trying to get when you make puzzles?
I think at first, usually what I did is I just throw a bunch of objects on the map and like see what cool things I could do with them. And then every once in a while, something would stick. I think probably as much as I can. That's as much as I could say, because I don't think, like, I would say they're puzzles in deconstruction site, but they're more like physics based.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know if that's what you're asking. That's just because I don't know where those ones came from. I had them kicking around for a while. I think mostly it was just a lot of trial and error.
I think you have to use bots here if you don't want to take damage. It's probably the best way.
Where is she? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can probably kill the one on the bottom with bots.
Oh, anyway. Some of your games are like very poetic in writing. I guess we kind of touched on it, but how do you go about writing first loader games?
I think so. Are you thinking of deconstruction site?
Also like other games like Running from Rain.
Yeah. I think I wish I told you. I think I've never really written, like, basically the only times I've ever written poetry were for Sploder games.
Same.
So
Basically
not not a lot to say there. I think usually I'm just trying to, when I've done it, I've just been trying to evoke an atmosphere. I think for deconstruction site, like, there was a line about but like there was a line about passenger pigeons that had been in my head for a while, and then I just tried to build stuff from there to make it seem more like it was actually talking about the game that you were playing at the time.
Yeah, it was very pretty cool.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, I think I wish I had more of an answer, but I don't think I'm enough of a writer to like really have a solid idea.
Oh. If you ever write anything, by the way, I would like to hear.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Oh, so feelings on collabs. How'd your collabs go? Not super well, I heard, but you know.
Yeah, not super well, and that was usually my fault. Because I flaked a lot. And by flaked, I mean I think I actually left. I think I left Sploder a few times before I like left for good. And I think honestly, sometimes it was like, I mean, usually it was because I didn't want to be on, like, I had lost interest in the site for the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes what pushed me over the edge was I didn't want to work on a collaboration. Like, I feel really bad about this. but I know is Future Millionaire still active? Is
Yeah,
he on the
he is
Discord?
kind of.
Okay, so I think I remember a while, I think years ago, he doesn't know this, so hi if you're listening. Um he approached me about a collaboration because he found I think he found a glitch, or he figured out, he did this with his later games, but he found a glitch where if you swung your sword ever, the game would crash. And he's like, I think we should make a game where you have to like solve these puzzles without having to swing your sword.
Mhm.
Um
He ended
and we
up using one
yeah,
where if you move at all, it can
yeah.
or something.
I really think, I think you should interview him and ask him how he did that, because I have no idea.
Mhm.
Um, but he was like, "Do you want to work on this game?" And so we started working on it. And then I think eventually I lost interest, but I didn't want to be like, "Hey, I don't want to make this game with you anymore." And it wasn't personal at all. He was super cool. And he kept and he kept like PMing me about it on the forums. And eventually I just like this is kind of stressful, and so I left the site completely. So that's how collaborations went for me. Um, I think I tried to make a game with Gaming a few times because we were pretty good friends. Um, and that never panned out either. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it's hard to. I mean, I think it's hard to collaborate on a lot of things, but I think especially just the actual logistics of it on Sploder, like having to like create a separate account, like make sure you're never like logged in at the same time so you don't overwrite any files.
Yeah. Yeah.
Made it just an extra amount
And
of difficult.
remake an entire like half of a game because that happened.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I get it. Makes sense.
Mhm.
What was the first game you ever received a feature on? And do you remember how you felt about it?
I felt really good. It's called Illusionary. It's really bad. I went back and played it earlier this year. It is very like 2012. It's pitch black. You can't see a thing. It's super cramped. You can't move at all. Um,
Mhm.
and I say it's a puzzle game, but really the only puzzle was figuring out like what order to go to the different parts of the map in so that you didn't trap yourself, and that was completely guesswork. So I think now I would say it's not a good game. At the time, I was really excited. I think Rocketeer featured it. He was cool.
Mhm.
And actually, I think I remember I got my first feature the same time that I don't know what his username now is, but Epic O got his first feature. They were featured within like a few days of each other. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, like, like a new generation of Splutter game makers. And then it wasn't, but that's how I felt at the time.
Mhm. Were you trying to like, shoot for features, or was that something just happened naturally?
I think that's interesting because what I was thinking about the other day was, I mean, I think initially, yes, I did shoot for features, but I think later in my time, I think I got to be basically like, I felt like I was at a point where I could consistently be producing games that got featured if I had wanted to.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I think I think probably there aren't a lot of other people who did that, because that's not necessarily a good thing. But I was making, I think I never got to the point where every game I was making was getting featured, for one reason or another. And
Mhm.
I think that spoke more to what I was trying to do with my games than their actual quality.
Oh,
But I
how-
also I think I've definitely,
oh, sorry.
sorry.
I'm just trying to give Tony some advice. If you press the screen, you can, yeah,
Yeah,
activate your.
it's a lot harder if you're stuck facing the camera. Um, yeah, what was I gonna say? Like, I think I've complained about this before. Um, I think I got into a couple heated discussions about this summer, but I've felt
Stuff.
always, but especially recently, that like standards for featured games have
Bad.
historically, well, they're high, which is a good thing, but they also feel really narrow, which is less of a good thing.
Mhm.
Um, like it feels like the reason so many featured games are so similar is because there was this popular conception. I don't think you can win without the hovercraft. You have to get it before it falls into the lava. But there was a common conception of like, a game has to check like these 10 check boxes in order to be feature worthy. And I guess that's good if the check boxes are ensuring a high quality game, but it also means that you're not getting a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, I think I was like I really liked Alra's game that she made earlier this year, Morning the Computer, which I don't know if you played it. It was a shooter game. There wasn't a lot of action to speak of. Most of it was just
Yeah.
it was going through the map, reading a poem, and she had created a song. I think she put it on SoundCloud, and the idea was that you would listen to it as you were you would listen to the song as you were playing. And I thought that was so cool. I thought the combination of the song and the poem, and even kind of just not the actual gameplay, but kind of the repetitive way it was structured, I feel like those all kind of combined to form a really unique experience. And I was like, well, of course this is feature worthy. It's doing at least like 2 or 3 things I've never seen another game do. And I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people didn't agree with me, and that's totally valid. But yeah, I mean, I think that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, same thing with C Can Become Solider, which is, as we've established, my favorite game on Sploder.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, of course.
GL worthy, of course.
No, I would say so. But I also like I know we're kind of joking, but I do legitimately think there were a lot of things I loved about that game that I think maybe other people were just smart. I think maybe other people didn't as much, and part of that may have just been because there's such this specific ingrained sense of what like a quote unquote good game is supposed to be.
Although, to be fair, C Can't Become Solid requires you to wait in a box for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I think I just went on Twitter while that was happening. Like, it wasn't a huge impediment to my experience.
And you also have to wait on two-way sliders for like an hour. Although you did it in 15 minutes.
I didn't do that. I've never been able to figure out how two-way sliders worked, because sometimes they just change direction in midair.
Yeah.
I don't know what the logic is behind that, but I think I was able to like jump around, do some platforming, do some pause jumping. And I actually ended up not having to wait on it for more than like 5 minutes.
Oh, it was a joke because, oh gosh,
No.
this is my like. I probably shouldn't talk about my own stuff. Actually, never mind.
No, talk about your own stuff.
Okay, so the reason I did that is Demon had a deleted part in his EGD game, Blockhead's Adventure.
Oh, I'm just gonna tell you, shoot the pros because you'll die otherwise. Sorry. Yeah, and Blockhead's Adventure.
Made a game where you had to do that, and it was like
it
was a terrible idea.
But did he change that? Because I beat the finished game, and I thought there was still a lot of like frustrating elevator sequences.
There's some frustrating elevator sequences, but not like as frustrating, you know. It's not.
Yeah, I think
it's so funny that
I think yeah. No, I thought that was really funny, and I actually think like I think we're definitely probably similar in that tendency, because I've definitely made games where I've specifically been like riffing on other people's sequences. I don't know if you played. I made a game called Cat's Revenge. That's one of my earlier games, and the joke is that it's a block. At first, it seems like it's just a block for block copy of the game Dog's Revenge by Sto4, and then you like, no, totally, and then you break out, and it's like becomes something completely different. But I don't know. I thought that was a cool way of interacting.
Can't beat puzzle plats because they're so hard, so I probably wouldn't have seen anything that comes.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I think I used to have a walkthrough up, and then I got taken down or something.
Oh, so did you also like go underneath the burst tiles that I put to make you like do the to force you to wait on the two-way sliders?
Yes, I did. I glitched under those,
very smart,
which I felt like was fair game considering.
Yeah, otherwise you have to wait an hour. Yes. Anyway. The joke, but it's okay. You probably understood it anyway.
No, I got the joke. I thought it was really funny.
I know.
I actually don't think I've ever had like a Sploder game make me laugh before, and that's part of why. Like, Like that's such a totally unique experience. I don't know why people didn't like it more.
Oh, thanks. Have you played Legend of Golderon, by the way?
I think I started playing it and then I realized pretty quickly what it was, and then I stopped playing it. I think I did play it for a little bit to see if there's any way I could like glitch out of the system and actually beat it quickly, but I don't think there was.
Oh, did you get the first level was Legend of Golderon and Quest Zone?
Wait, sorry, and C can become Solitaire? Yes, I did get that. That was funny. And that's
Yeah.
the thing is I really love the idea of like not only there being like a Sploder meta, but of there being like a self referential or internally referential Sploder meta. Like the
Oh,
idea that
Custom Light's so good. It's actually really
Quest. Oh, I forgot about that. I did. Yeah, I was really excited to rediscover Quest Light. I stand by that game. I think that's the funniest game I've ever made.
It's definitely I really like the balls in the Minecraft part.
Yeah. I will say I don't think I'd ever played Minecraft when I made that level, so I was just guessing. But hopefully it held up.
It basically held up. I mean, you played the better Minecraft, Minecraft
Yeah.
played.
No, for sure.
Which of course Coney featured, so we have someone with real taste. Anyway, so you are perhaps most famous for your skills in, beating Splutter games. People often hear your name and Shaman Lords in the same breath. How did this become the case,
Honestly, I think I think it was just because I played so many. Connie, do you want help or do you want to figure it out?
I think you break the hovercraft over the teleporters, right?
Yeah, you have to go above the orange teleporter, get the turret to destroy your hovercraft. And now you're gonna have to catch the other hovercraft as it's falling to the left.
That's so hard. This is so hard.
Uh
No, this is where I died, I remember. Yeah, I quit after this happened to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I think legitimately, I think it's funny because like I said, I've played like 3 video games in my life. I'm definitely not good at video games, generally speaking.
Are you sure about that? You're an epic gamer.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is I think I'm good at Sploder games specifically just because I played them so much when I was a kid. Like I think I've talked a little bit about how I bought into kind of the way that like Sploder and editors and like the EGL kind of like mythologized its own body of work. And I was like, wow, like I want to learn everything about this. And I think the other thing is I get sucked into things really easily. So there were times when I was a kid, when I was just playing Sploder games for just hours on end every day.
Yeah.
And I think probably that's all it is just practice. It is kind of sad to know that I have this really, honed, non-transferable skill that will become totally obsolete in a few hours.
I mean, most speedrunning skills are that way.
Yeah, no, totally. But, nice to have it all last.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest
I think
is breathing.
No, totally. I think speedrunning Sploder games could, like, at one point probably had the potential to become a really big thing. That was one of the things I really liked about Dave, was it felt like there were a lot of different ways to get to the end point, and I thought that was really cleanly executed.
If you have Spell or Coney.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Coney did the bosses and Spell did the level design, right? Yeah.
Probably.
You have to get out here?
Yeah, you have to get out here on the heat blocks because otherwise you'll fall into spikes. So this part's kind of tedious. You can just get around it by pause glitching. The idea is, like, if you pause, you're gonna fall down into a teleporter. If you pause right after you come out of the other teleporter, wait 5 seconds and then unpause, you should be able to skip the section.
Oh, that's clever.
But that wasn't my intention. That was just something, because then you'll go back through the whole point of a section is you have to release the Rocky so that it falls into the oh shit. Okay, maybe you can't do that. Okay, I guess I realized that was a thing and I put in anti-cheating technology. But
you have to shoot the Rocky thing? That's so
It is really tedious. You have to shoot the barrels so that they blow up. The Rocky comes out. He falls into the teleporter so that you can go past the teleporter.
If you have a mouse gun, this would be a lot easier.
Yeah, well,
Just spam.
I do kind of regret making this part just because it's pretty tedious.
Press, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess that.
but oh well.
Oh gosh, she's gonna die here.
Yeah, things are not looking too hot. That was kind of why I was worried about this interview, because I was like, you're not like I don't think you can get past the first like 5 seconds in most of the games I made.
Could you like go into the side pause glitch and then aim it better that way?
You could what I usually do when I'm doing it is I press up against the side and I'm pausing as I fall. I don't know if it actually helps, but it makes me feel like I'm doing better. I think she might be about to die though.
It's a cool section though.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool sequence. I feel like I got that a lot in floater games where I had a really cool idea, but the only way that you could implement it would be really like frustrating and tedious to actually pull off. And I feel like that's kind of that. Where like it's a cool idea, but you can't do it without making it really frustrating.
This beginning part. You know, I should have done that, but instead it's an hour long. So you can become Solider too.
I think I have a walkthrough of this game up on YouTube now though. If you're curious.
Oh, some of your walkthroughs are kind of privated, like Merry Christmas, I think.
Yeah. I don't remember why I privated Merry Christmas. I privated a bunch of my old YouTube videos. Well, I think I want to mention I had a Let's Play series that I definitely set all of my videos to private because it was a lot of fun. But
I kind of want to, since we have Meow here, I kind of want to see how you beat it, since he can tell you how to beat it.
Wait, which game?
Oh, Vanishing Point.
Oh, you can't beat it.
It's not possible?
No, it's literally not possible because the second level is destroy all enemies and there are no enemies.
Oh.
The only reason, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, is I made this game as a joke. But the only reason I made it is because I thought it was a cool glitch that I didn't think there was any.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah, no, it's just a glitch showcase that I didn't like. It's not possible to work that into a game. Because you just die. I tried to do that once years ago, and instead of making the player disappear, it actually created a doppelganger. But I guess that got patched at some point because it doesn't work anymore.
You're the third person to make the doppelganger glitch. Amazing.
I know. I posted like a screenshot, and a bunch of people said I had photoshopped it, and I didn't do anything else with it.
Yeah. Could you have done anything else? Would it like have broken the game?
I think I tried it, and the doppelganger actually disappeared after like 10 seconds, so it wasn't super useful. But
see, we believe you, even though we know you photoshopped.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This game was definitely an atmospheric game. And I think kind of what I think you were asking about like inspiration. My idea for this game is just I think all of the objects in this game are things that were like in the beta version of the platformer.
Oh, that's cool.
So I wanted to make it feel like an old-timey kind of thing. So like there's no like burst tiles or closers or anything.
Yeah, this wasn't one of the ones I was interested in, but now that I've heard that, it's not more interesting.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Yeah, I had to play the rest of the game with like 2 HP. It was really.
If you're falling and you try and center yourself, then the gears don't push into the spikes. There's a trap down here. There's nothing down there. You just.
But yeah, it's pretty easy to kill this guy because he's fallen. Oh. Anyway.
Did you ever beat what kind of game? I think it's called Extreme Hard Kill.
Oh, I beat that. I'm the only person that ever beat that game.
I was trying to beat that for hours, and I don't think I ever managed.
I spent okay. This semester I spent fucking 5 hours one night, and then the next night I spent another 2 hours, and then I beat it like a month later.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's actually like it's such a good game.
I remember being really impressed by it.
It's so cool. It's like a puzzle game that requires you to like do action because of how many like really strong enemies there are.
Oh, totally. And I love like that was one of the things. Like I think it seems like the consensus may now be that the Jabberwocky is not that good of a game. Just because I've seen like discourse around that, but I
Ethan. You know
Huh?
that.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just between me and Ethan.
yeah, but I think part of the reason I did really like the Jabberwocky is because it felt like it kind of did the same thing as Extreme Hard Kill, where it just totally switched up what you would expect from like the action scenes. Like a lot of the Jabberwocky is you are insanely overpowered, but so are all the enemies. And so it becomes less of the, like throw your shield up, hit everything with your sword, and like try to not lose too much health that I think a lot of other action sequences and platforms are.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it feels completely different. And that was actually one of the things I really liked about Dave too, is it felt like it kind of was doing a similar thing. Like it's less about like, hey, do I have enough health to stand next to this enemy and hit it with my sword until it dies? Because that's what a lot of fights are. And it was less that, and it was more about actually navigating your way through the different sequences smartly, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool.
Yeah, a lot of the bosses are very puzzly.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Or like I remember in the Jabberwocky, the second level is it's supposed to be like the land of the giants. And literally what it is just there's Rockies everywhere.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and you obviously don't have enough weapons to kill any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the whole level is just flying around trying to avoid the Rockies, and I thought that was such a cool use of.
That was such a cool concept. It made me want to make a stealth game in the plat, and I never did.
Yeah, no, totally.
Well, see, I might be praising it, but that was the only level I liked. So
I think I'm also biased because I beat it.
yeah, Ethan beat it recently. Congratulations.
Props to Ethan. Congrats.
Even though he hates it so much.
That's really funny to me. But I mean, I feel like I know the feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the ultimate question: who is the best gamer on Sploder? Is it you, or is it Shaman, or is it Coney G?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I was around when Shaman Lord was, so I can't.
Me neither. I wasn't.
I can't. I don't. I think the only thing I know is what I've heard. I can't really attest to their actual experience. I feel like probably I would say now I am better than Shaman Lord on account of they haven't been on Sploder for like 8 years, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think I can. I don't know how much else I can say.
Oh, Connie, could you beat? I hate. I'll ask you real quick for these last couple of questions because it's a shorter game, and I think you beat it before, right? I don't know. I wanted to see someone beat it because I couldn't. Anyway.
If she doesn't know how to beat it, I don't know if she'll be able to figure it out quickly. But
I mean, you're here.
yeah, I can help out.
We have the cheats.
I had Nebraska's on page 2, I think. If you.
All right. So much of everyone's experiences here seem to be defined by that you joined at a young age and grew up alongside it. So do you think you'd still want to rejoin if you came across the letter again?
You mean like at this age if Flash were up and running?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a difficult question. I think, yeah. Well,
All too late.
I don't think I could even name more than like 2 cities in Nebraska.
What are some cities in Nebraska? I'm trying to think.
Omaha and Lincoln, I guess, and that's all I got.
Hey, that's more than I named.
Is there a Kansas City in Nebraska? Or am I out of my mind? I don't think there is. I don't know why I thought that. I think Nebraska is a really good Bruce Springsteen album, and that's as far as it goes. What am I saying? I think I would I don't know. I think what's interesting about Sploder just and where I was developmentally when I joined was like I've never been like Sploder's the only internet community I've ever really been part of. And it's also far and away the most time I've ever spent like playing video games of any kind.
Yeah, same.
And I think that's just because I was pretty young when I started, and then it became a big part of my life, and then I realized I wanted to do other stuff as well. But But it's the kind of thing where it's not like I mean I have Discord, but basically Sploder is the only Discord server that I'm on, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not something where I have a lot of similar experiences.
Does sword glitch up through here?
Yes, yeah, you have to pause. Yeah, sword glitch.
Because
So if you're,
it's got the roof tiles.
yeah,
Oh,
that's how you get, that's how you get back.
that's so annoying.
There also is a walkthrough for this one up on my YouTube channel if you're curious later. But
yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. I think most people wouldn't rejoin from what
yeah,
we've gathered from asking this question, which makes sense, honestly.
yeah. Well, I also feel like I was I think I only ever had really a few close friends on Sploder. Like I was friendly with a lot of people, but I wasn't super close with a lot of people. And I think I get the sense that most of those people aren't really around anymore. So I feel like it is kind of, and I felt like I was coming back to when I came back in like May, I felt like I was coming back to like a very different community than the one I had left. And that's not in any way like an indictment of it. It seems like everyone here seems like they're super cool. Like I don't, and I'm saying that genuinely. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It feels different, you know.
I was happier when the community when I came back to it. Do you have to pause glitch up through the pause through?
Yeah, so you have to go to the roof. There is an invisible ladder above the crystal that you should be able to grab onto. You could
I used the pause button to like jump over.
yeah, you can pause too, but yeah, you got it. And then yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
I actually feel like this game is a really good encapsulation of the kinds of games I was making.
Are you a tiny chat person, by the way?
I think I was around when Tiny Chat was a thing. I was never super into it. Okay, so this one's tricky. You're gonna touch the crystal. Damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's an invisible log, so you have to duck under it, so you're fucked now. But
how did you do the invisible log trick, by the way?
What do you mean?
How did you put the invisible? Was this one graphics?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, so it's just a graphic.
But I thought you couldn't make graphics on logs.
Apparently you can. I don't know.
Never mind then.
Something that this is when you mentioned the graphics update, this made me think of. I only realized, I think literally this summer, that like the beta platformer, the beta version of platformer, where it was like slow and laggy and like kind of zoomed in. When I joined Sploder probably like a month before it got updated to the current version. But I didn't have any sense of scale as to how long it had been around. So I was like, oh, the beta platform, it's probably been around for like, years, if not like decades,
That's what I thought. Oh my god.
Right? No, seriously. And I was like, I bet there's all these like years of history and like, games going back that everyone else has been a part of. And I feel like, and this is such a fun new thing. It's like a completely different kind of game. And then I found out this summer that I think the beta version of the platformer was around for like less than a year, literally.
I didn't realize
that either. Yeah. No, it was introduced in 2009. It got updated in 2010. And so it wasn't around for a lot of time at all. It's just the time that I joined Sploder made me think it was a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think that really messed with like my conception of games for a while.
When you're a kid, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I usually do is I just hold down pause, spacebar, up and right, and that works eventually. I guess, or perhaps not.
Anyway, any regrets in regard to Sploder?
I mean, I think the thing I talked about earlier, where I felt like I lost interest kind of at the same time that I was getting really good at a lot of things I was doing.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, I don't think I've talked a lot about like my time on the forums, but I do wish kind of that I had. I know I said I felt like I was always a couple years younger than everyone else. I don't think I wish that necessarily that I had been the same age as everyone, but I did feel like looking back, like I was definitely a lot less, like I was a lot less mature than everyone else for
Same.
a fair amount of time, and I feel like that maybe really inhibited my ability to connect with people.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think that's necessarily a regret because it's not something I could change. But
This log is so hard to beat.
I'm not. My screen's frozen. I can't see where she is.
She got killed by the log again.
Oh, what I usually do is I crouch right into the door to open the door first, and then take a step back and duck under the log. Because if you try and go to the log head on, it just lifts you up.
Yeah.
I think that's back to your question from like an hour ago. That's why I love the platformer creators, because there's all these hyper specific techniques for just getting the tiniest thing that a game with like a competent physics engine would just do normally to work.
Yeah. The shittiness of the physics in this.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I really like it.
How every speedrunner thinks about the game.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's a good regret to have, I think. So finally, or not finally, I guess, last two questions. How do you feel about the end of Sploder?
I think so. I was inactive on Discord and on Sploder for I think a few months. I think I came back between like May and August, and then I kind of got caught up in like the first semester of college and stuff. And I came back a couple days ago. And so I think at first when I came back, I definitely felt a lot of nostalgia and probably sadness. I think I may have said this before, but actually the thing that really like got me the first time was I came back and I was on the forums. This is like right after I didn't even know the forums had been wiped.
Yeah.
And I saw someone, Bulsilos, I don't know how you say his name, but he had done one of those threads that was like, how old are you? Like every member say how old they are. And I remember those threads from when I was more active on the forums in like 2014, 2015. And, everyone was like, I don't know, probably like, I was, 12 or 13. It felt like most people were like 16 to 18. You have to jetpack over the perm blocks. And I remember on the thread in May, probably, literally everyone was like, I think 18 was the youngest. Everyone was like 18, 19, 20, like early 20s, mid 20s.
Yeah.
And I feel like that moment really drove home for me. Like, I guess just the idea that it wasn't like Sploder kept getting new people after a while. It was just the same. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, but it was really the same group of people kind of growing up together. And it did strike me that Sploder is a website for kids, and I don't think anyone on this website is a kid anymore, almost.
Yeah.
And I think there's something sad about that. I think in general, also, like I've seen a couple like abandoned internet forums before, and
I didn't know that. That's cool.
And just forums that people have stopped using, and there's something kind of weird and like almost haunting about it. I think just the idea that like, these are like there are these people are probably still alive like in the world somewhere, but like this isn't. It just feels like a very like wistful kind of relic almost. So that's how I felt initially. I think eventually at some point I was like, I don't like it's okay, but it's not that big of a deal. And I think now coming back, I think it was kind of jarring. I tried to log on to Sploder for the first time. You have to activate the wheel and then go back up to the top. I think jetpack over the perm blocks if you have enough jetpack left. Okay, and then push it to the left so it activates the put into that hole. Okay, then go back into the water and there should be rings that can push you out of the bottom.
That's cool.
You're good. Oh shit. Okay, you're good. Okay, I think you should be able to win now.
Amazing.
But what was I saying? I think sorry, I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about forums that were active.
I just think there's something uniquely sad about it in a way that wasn't really a thing before. Oh, congrats, Connie. That probably wasn't really a thing before the internet started being used in like the way that it's being used now.
Yeah, because like if you have like a friend group that drifts apart or something, there's no like evidence of it that once existed.
Oh no, totally.
It's like a manifestation of dead human relationships.
I think that's a really good way of putting it. even this isn't at all the same thing, but I think a video came up for me on YouTube, like it was part of the algorithm, and it was some like sad like electronic song, and all the comments were like, "This is how I feel when like I go on my Minecraft server that like my friends and I played like 5 years ago, but now it's deserted." And they're like, "Yeah, like that's actually kind of sad." Please don't play this game; it's really bad.
Is this a PPG?
Yeah, it's not good. I wasn't good at PPGs. You can. I mean, you can't. I don't. You can play it. It's not.
Whoa, that's cool.
Thank you.
And then I had an epileptic seizure and died.
Yeah, I should have maybe said something. No, I think it was kind of jarring to come back because in my head I was always like, like before the end of Exploder, like I'll check in, like look at all my like unfinished games. I probably have hundreds. For the last time, maybe I'll like take screenshots or like record videos of myself like playing parts of them. And I came back on, I want to say the 28th, and found out that like Jeff had already shut down like the login system entirely. So it's like I wasn't expecting that to happen, and I'm not crushed over it, but it was kind of jarring. Other than that, like I think I saw some of the updates on the forums that the site's going to still be up in like read-only mode, and I think that's really cool. Like it's not going to disappear completely, which is something I've been worried about. But
I'm glad we'll have the archive.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say about that.
And then finally, what are your plans for the future?
Just like in life.
Yeah, where are we gonna go from here?
I probably a common answer, but I don't really know. I think there are quite a few things that I'm interested in, and I don't yet have a sense of like what I actually want to pursue. I think the easiest way of saying that is like, I don't know what I'm going to major in when I go to college, but I also just don't.
You're in college right now?
Sorry, I'm taking a gap year, and I'm taking classes at community college, but because I'm taking a gap year, I can't take the classes for credit or like personal enrichment classes.
Oh, I see.
So it's college, but it's not like college, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm excited because I know there are a lot of things that I want to do, but I don't know yet.
Well, I'm excited to see what you do with your music and writing and stuff.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we stay in contact, if only for that.
Yeah, no, I would love to. And thank you so much for doing this interview. I feel like I've just been I've just been kind of rambling for the whole time.
That's the fun part about these interviews. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. No, I'm glad. This is a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And thank you, Connie, for going through my catalog so exhaustively. I'm glad someone took a last look at these guys.
It's been a pleasure, talking. And I guess if we ever... I was going to say if you ever like make a Spotify or something, we should put it in the description. But honestly, by the time you do that, probably.
Yeah.
I don't care about this video anymore. So, well, yeah. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, Connie's still playing the game.
Actually, I am done. I don't want to play anymore. I am sorry everyone. This is it. No more interview. It's over. Goodbye. I'm so sorry.